Lily had been taught not to judge people by appearance. Her parents had drilled it into her. What matters is inside, not outside. But she'd never really understood until she got lost in the mountains and stumbled onto the scarred man's cabin. He opened the door, and Lily's first instinct was to recoil. His face was heavily scarred, features twisted, the kind of appearance that nightmares were made of. But then she looked at his eyes. Kind eyes. Sad eyes. The eyes of someone who expected her to run. "I'm lost," Lily managed. "Can you help?" The man stared at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. "You're not scared?" "Should I be? Most people are, especially children." "You look different," Lily said honestly. "But you opened your door when I knocked. That makes you nice, not scary. So can you help me find my parents?" And the man, David, he introduced himself as, looked at this 8-year-old who judged him by his actions rather than his appearance and felt something shift in his chest. Maybe isolation wasn't the only option. Maybe this child could teach him something about seeing beyond scars. David Harper had been a firefighter for 12 years before the warehouse fire that changed everything. He'd gone in to rescue trapped workers, had gotten 3 people out before the ceiling collapsed. The burns covered the left side of his face and neck, destroying tissue, twisting features, leaving scars that made strangers uncomfortable. The physical recovery took 18 months. The psychological recovery never finished. People couldn't look at him normally. They'd see his face, flinch, then force smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Children screamed and hid behind parents. Adults stared, then looked away quickly, embarrassed at their own reactions. Even his family struggled. His mother tried to hide it, but David saw how she avoided looking directly at him. His brother's kids were terrified of Uncle Monster, a nickname they thought he couldn't hear. After 3 years of trying to function in normal society, David gave up. He bought a remote cabin in the Cascade Mountains, moved away from humanity, accepted that his appearance made regular life impossible. For 7 years, he lived alone. No visitors, minimal trips to town, interaction limited to the occasional hiker passing through. It was lonely, but safe. No one could be scared or disgusted by what they couldn't see. Then Lily appeared. David was chopping wood when he heard someone approaching his cabin. Unusual, this area was remote, rarely visited. He saw a small figure stumbling through the trees, moving erratically. A child, maybe 8 years old, dirty and exhausted, clearly lost. David's first instinct was to hide. Let her find the cabin, leave supplies, avoid direct contact. But the girl looked terrified and on the verge of collapse. He couldn't just hide. Lily knocked on the cabin door. "Harper." David hesitated, then opened it. The afternoon sun illuminated his scarred face. Clearly, twisted tissue, damaged features, the face that made people recoil. David waited for the inevitable scream. Instead, Lily looked at him and said, "I'm lost. Can you help?" David stood frozen. No scream, no fear, just a straightforward request for help. "You're not scared?" he asked, voice rough from disuse. Lily studied his face with the frank curiosity of childhood. "Should I be? Most people are, especially children." "You look different," Lily said honestly. "But you opened your door when I knocked. That makes you nice, not scary. So can you help me find my parents?" David felt something crack inside. A wall he'd built over 7 years. The certainty that his appearance made normal human interaction impossible. "I'm David," he managed. "Come inside. You look exhausted." Lily collapsed into the chair David offered, accepted water gratefully. She explained between sips. She'd been hiking with her family, wandered off to look at butterflies, gotten turned around. That was 3 days ago. She'd been walking since, trying to find them or civilization or anyone who could help. "I'll contact park rangers on my radio," David said. "They'll organize search and rescue. You're safe now." "Thank you," Lily said simply, then asked, "What happened to your face?" The directness shocked David. Adults either avoided the topic entirely or asked with excessive delicacy, but Lily just wanted to know. "I was a firefighter. There was a fire. Part of a building collapsed on me. I got burned." "Did it hurt?" "Yes, a lot." "Does it still hurt?" "Sometimes, but mostly it's just scars now." Lily nodded, accepting this information without judgment. "My uncle has scars. From Afghanistan. He got hurt saving his friends. My dad says scars mean you survived something hard, that they're like medals but on your skin instead of your uniform." David had never heard it expressed that way. Scars as evidence of survival rather than disfigurement. Your uncle sounds wise. He is. He also says people who judge other people by how they look are being lazy, that it takes more work to know someone's character, but it's worth it. How old is your uncle? 32. Why? Because that's very mature philosophy. He learned it after he got hurt. He says the scars taught him who his real friends were, the ones who didn't care what he looked like, just who he was inside. David contacted park rangers, explained the situation. Lily was safe, uninjured. Rescue could proceed normally. They'd arrive within 2 days, weather permitting. Over those 2 days, Lily and David developed an unlikely friendship. David taught her wilderness survival, building shelter, purifying water, identifying edible plants. Lily taught him something more valuable, how to interact with someone who genuinely didn't care about his appearance. "Why do you live alone?" Lily asked on their second day together. "Tisor." David considered how much honesty an 8-year-old could handle. "Because people are uncomfortable around me. My face scares them, especially children. But I'm not scared. You're unusual. Or maybe other people are wrong," Lily said with the absolute certainty of childhood. "My mom always says what's inside matters more than what's outside. You're nice inside. You're helping me, teaching me, keeping me safe. That's what I see." Most adults don't think that way. "Then most adults need better moms," Lily replied seriously. David laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in years. This fierce little girl with her unshakable conviction that character mattered more than appearance was teaching him things he'd forgotten. They talked while working through survival lessons. Lily shared stories about school, her family, her dreams of becoming a veterinarian. David shared carefully edited stories of firefighting, of the satisfaction of helping people, of missing that sense of purpose. "Why did you stop being a firefighter?" Lily asked. "Because after I got burned, people couldn't see past my face. They'd see the scars and think victim or tragedy instead of firefighter. It made the job impossible." "That's dumb," Lily said bluntly. "You saved people. That's what matters. Who cares what your face looks like? The people who had to look at me every day cared. The children I rescued who cried when they saw me. The coworkers who couldn't maintain eye contact. Eventually, it was easier to quit than to keep dealing with it." Lily was quiet for a moment, processing this. Then, "I think you gave up too easy. Not everyone would be scared. Some people, like me and my uncle, would just see you. The real you, not just your face. You're 8. You don't understand how adults think." "Maybe adults think wrong," Lily countered. "Maybe they need to learn from kids. We don't care about scars or weird faces or different bodies. We care if you're nice or mean, kind or cruel. That's all that should matter." David wanted to argue but couldn't. This child's simple logic highlighted everything wrong with how he'd responded to his injury, accepting society's judgment of his appearance rather than challenging it. On their third day waiting for rescue, Lily asked David to tell her about the fire that had scarred him. David hesitated. He'd never talked about it, not even in mandated therapy, but Lily's honest curiosity seemed genuine, not morbid. "There was a warehouse fire. Workers trapped on the second floor. I went in with my team, got 3 people out safely, was going back for a 4th when the ceiling collapsed. Burning debris fell on me, pinned me briefly. That's when I got burned." "Did you get the 4th person out?" "No, they died. I failed." "You saved 3 people. That's not failure." "I should have been faster, more careful." "You went into a burning building to save people." Lily interrupted. "That's brave, not failure. The person who died, that's sad, but it's not your fault. Buildings collapse, fire is dangerous. You did your best." David felt tears he'd been holding for 7 years threatening to surface. "The person who died was a woman. She had 2 kids. They came to the hospital to thank me for trying. They saw my face and the younger one screamed, started crying about monsters. I scared a grieving child while bearing the scars from trying to save her mother. That moment broke something in me." Lily climbed into David's lap. Simple, trusting child gesture. "That kid was scared and sad and confused. She didn't understand, but you know what? When she grows up, she'll understand you were brave. She'll feel bad about calling you a monster, and she'll tell people her mom died a hero because someone tried to save her, even though it cost him his face. That's not failure. That's sacrifice." David held this wise 8-year-old and cried for the first time since the fire. For the career he'd lost, the the identity destroyed, the 7 years wasted in isolation because he'd believed society's judgment of his worth. Rescue helicopters arrived on the 4th day. Lily's parents stumbled off, sobbing with relief, grabbing their daughter and checking for injuries. "I'm fine," Lily assured them. "David took care of me, taught me survival skills, kept me safe." Lily's parents turned to David, seeing his scarred face for the first time. Her mother's first instinct was to recoil. David saw it happen, the automatic fear response. But she caught herself, looked at his eyes instead of his scars, and said, "Thank you. Thank you so much for keeping our daughter safe." "She's a remarkable kid," David replied. "You've raised her well." "David has scars like Uncle James," Lily told her parents. "From saving people. He was a firefighter." Lily's father's expression changed, recognition replacing initial discomfort. "You're David Harper. I read about you. The warehouse fire 7 years ago. You saved 3 people. I remember the story." "That was a long time ago," David said quietly. "Not that long and not forgotten. What you did mattered." Before leaving, Lily hugged David fiercely. "Promise you won't hide anymore. Promise you'll let people see you. The real you, not just your scars." "I don't know if I can," David admitted. "Yes, you can, because if an 8-year-old can see past your scars, adults can too. They just need practice. Don't give up on them, okay?" David nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. After Lily left, David stood outside his cabin for a long time. 7 years of isolation, of accepting that his appearance made normal life impossible. But Lily had challenged that assumption, had shown him that some people, maybe many people, could see past scars to the person underneath. He wouldn't transform overnight. 7 years of trauma and isolation couldn't be undone by 4 days with an 8-year-old. But something had shifted. A door had opened. 6 months later, David volunteered with search and rescue. Using his wilderness knowledge, his firefighting experience, his understanding of emergency situations. The team knew about his scars before he showed up. Word spread in small communities. But they judged him by his competence, not his appearance. A year later, he began speaking at schools about fire safety. The first time he faced a classroom of children, he waited for screams. Instead, the teacher had prepared them. Mr. Harper was hurt saving people. His scars show he's a hero. And the children, like Lily, looked past appearance to character, saw a firefighter who'd sacrificed for others, not a monster to fear. 5 years after Lily's rescue, David received an invitation to her 13th birthday party. He drove 3 hours to attend, nervous about meeting her family properly. Lily ran to hug him the moment he arrived. "You came. I wasn't sure you would." "You invited me. How could I not?" "Some people still find excuses. I'm glad you're not one of them." The party was normal. Cake, presents, awkward teenagers. David felt conspicuous, aware people were staring, but not with fear or disgust, with curiosity, with recognition of the man who'd saved Lily years ago. Before he left, Lily pulled David aside. "Thank you for not hiding anymore, for letting people see you. I knew you could do it. You made me believe I was more than my scars," David replied. "That took courage from an 8-year-old who'd been lost and scared but still saw me as just a person who could help." "That's all you ever were," Lily said simply. "Just took you a while to believe it." David drove home thinking about the child who'd taught him to see himself differently, who'd looked past scars to character, past appearance to worth, who'd reminded him that identity was defined by actions, not appearance. He'd spent 7 years believing his face made him a monster. Lily had spent 4 days proving him wrong.